What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Thursday, December 30th edition of DraftKings Tournament Plays presented by No House Advantage. All new users to No House Advantage receive a $25 deposit bonus using the code Awesemo. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can find me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And today we're going to take a look at 5 of the best tournament options on DraftKings. Keep in mind that there's a lot of moving parts with COVID protocols these days. We recently lost several players on the Denver Nuggets. We're waiting to find out if there are going to be more. That game potentially is in danger of being postponed, depending on how their tests go throughout the rest of the day. But for right now, taking an early look at 5 of the top tournament options. Starting at number 5, Grayson Allen, $4,100 on DraftKings. He's not a particularly exciting play. He's not particularly likely to do well, but he's only projected for 4% ownership with a 10% chance of being in the optimal lineup. The most likely scenario for Allen is that he starts and plays around 24 minutes. He's averaged about 0.66 DraftKings points per minute in the games that he's played with Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and Giannis Antetokounmpo all active this year. But if he plays well, you could certainly see him pick up a few extra minutes and be in the closing lineup tonight against Orlando if the game is competitive enough for Milwaukee to use a semi-normal closing lineup. There's not a lot of contrarian value available on this slate without going completely off the board. You have some very good point per hour value options, but they're also going to get a lot of ownership. You also have other teams that don't really offer much at all in the way of value. Allen offers at least a path to success at relatively low ownership, even if he's not going to hit it all that often. Number 4, Mo Wagner, 3,200, 11% chance of being in the optimal lineup. 11% ownership with a 15% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Wagner's an interesting option because we don't really know how many minutes he's going to play. Orlando is missing a ton of pieces here. We haven't seen this exact rotation before. So there's volatility in Wagner's playing time. But the thing that we know about Mo Wagner is that he's a very productive player when he's on the floor. He's averaged 0.99 DraftKings points per minute this season. If he just backs up Wendell Carter Jr. and plays 16 to 18 minutes, he's likely to give you a serviceable score at 3,200. But we also know that Orlando's been willing to play two bigs alongside each other pretty much every chance that they get this season. So there's certainly a chance that you get some minutes where Wagner is playing alongside Wendell Carter Jr. as well, in which case his ceiling becomes even higher. Number 3, Evan Mobley at 7,800. Cleveland is another very, very shorthanded team today. They were already missing Garland and Sexton. Now they're also without Ricky Rubio. That leaves a massive usage void. Without Sexton or Garland on the floor this year, Rubio had a 27% usage rate. Now you take him out as well. It's not exactly clear where the usage is going to come from in the Cavs starting unit, especially if Kevin Love continues to come off the bench. Evan Mobley is one potential option. He's been a strong fantasy producer this year anyway. He's averaged 0.98 DraftKings points per minute, but you're likely to get 34 to 36 minutes from Mobley tonight. And there's certainly the potential for him to take on a bigger role with so much usage vacated by Rubio's injury. Number 2, Giannis Antetokounmpo, obviously a strong play whenever he's on the slate. He's $11,600 on DraftKings. He's projected for 23% ownership with a 25% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Has a fantastic matchup against the Orlando Magic. There is plenty of blowout risk here, but it's likely that you get around 30 minutes from Giannis. He's averaged 31.8 minutes per game in the games that he's played with Holiday and Middleton active this year. He's averaged 1.75 DraftKings points per minute in those games. And then coming in as the top DraftKings tournament option, Lauri Markkanen, 5,800, 19% projected ownership, a 36% chance of being in the optimal lineup. He's averaged 0.84 DraftKings points per minute this year, but as was the case with Evan Mobley, there's a lot of usage to be soaked up. We don't know exactly where it's going to go, but Markkanen is one of the most likely options to just see more shot volume and an expanded offensive role tonight. He's relatively inexpensive. He's projected to be under-owned. He looks like the best tournament option on the board right now on DraftKings. So to recap the top 5 options, number 5, Grayson Allen. Number 4, Mo Wagner. Number 3, Evan Mobley. Number 2, Giannis Antetokounmpo. And number 1, Lauri Markkanen.